Abubakar. Hassoun played in the NFL, and Rod did not play in any FL. I'm just kidding.
Good
thing. We are back. Yes, we have Hassoun on. And Rod, just before you go, you know, I hear your opinion, and it's a conservative one.
Yeah.
But I really want to get from you. Give me some facts why, you know, you come to that conclusion. You know, I mean, factually here.
I mean, like I said, I mean, I can just look at, like I said, there are different times and different scenarios. I think society, we need to be tired of it. You know, if you have any of that lifestyle at all, whether it be NFLs, NBA, soccer league, whatever, we have to rid that stuff of it, because you're not just looking at yourself, man, your career. Think about those who are going to come behind you. You know, I mean, I just think that's an easy thing in terms of dealing with gangs and athletics. I mean, there has to be some separation, man. So, you know, I mean, you have a wonderful opportunity to play in the NFL. My brother played in the NFL. I mean, his knees is hurting down, I'm sure. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, those are wonderful opportunities that I mean, when he played, I think he was elected to the Newark Hall of Fame recently. Am I right, Haas? A couple years back?
Yeah, a couple years back. Sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't get that opportunity, man. So you don't jeopardize that at all. That's my whole take on that whole, whether he's affiliated or not affiliated. You don't jeopardize that.
So Rod, let me ask you a question. Hassoun, you could also jump in here.
Okay.
Let's say he came back, NFL season is finished. He comes back home, and he's hanging out in Newark. Mm-hmm. And it so happened one of these gang guys come up and say, "Hey, welcome back to Newark." And he happens to shake his hand, and someone takes a picture of him.
I mean,
and next thing, it's in the newspapers that he's associated with gang members. It's easy.
Gangs has been around at the beginning of the time, man. When he came back home from the NFL, he had a beautiful car. I mean, so there's always been that type of stuff around. But I mean, like I said, obviously the money is different and the times are different. But this stuff has always been around. I mean, we have really glamorized that gang stuff. That's my whole take on this whole thing, man. You know, you could talk sports with him all day. I mean, that's, you know, my take on it is about the social fiber of society, man, and particularly urban areas.
But Rod, this is a guy who's in the community helping kids. This is a guy.
I really think. I think personally, after we took that break, I kind of thought about it. There may be some locker room issues in terms of them letting him go.
Yeah.
Because besides the money factor, I think it might be some locker room issue. Yeah. Because a lot of teams now do not want any distraction. They don't want you doing anything that take away from the other guy's focus. I don't know what his locker room demeanor was, but maybe that might be one of the issues that no one is actually talking about. Because conduct in the locker room is as important as this is conduct on the streets and as well as on the football field.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I can go with that.
Yeah.
I can say that if you're going to get rid of him, says that, you know, the team is going in a different direction and there are issues with him as far as the team is concerned.
And I think, like Hassan said, I think that probably played a giant part in it. Because I think that gang affiliation, I think they pretty much knew some about that for years. I think I agree with you, Haas, with that. I really think that's more the locker room.
But Rod, the way it came out today, though, it's like, as I was talking about, the good things, it's mentioned very silently.
Right.
The locker room problem, which could be, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
If he's a cancer in the locker room, to get rid of him.
Right, sure. Right.
It's just reasonable.
Let's be honest about it, Hassan. I think that, I mean, there's some color issue also. I think I would never say racism, but there's a race card that's leaning toward, particularly when you talk about the reporters and the way they report on it.
I saw you laughing.
But I don't think no one's want to touch that issue, the race card, though, because a lot of times they say, there we go, you're throwing a race card out. I don't know if anybody want to touch that issue, which may be some kind of hidden agenda someplace in there. Who knows, man?
This kind of issue is that, there's the guy named Sherman. He plays for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
The number one cornerback in the country.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah, well,
right?
Reeves said he's number one, but go ahead. We go with Sherman. Go with Sherman. Okay.
Sherman.
Okay.
Right? When after the final in the NFC final to go to the Super Bowl,
NFC Championship.
the NFC Championships, when he reacted in a certain way.
Emotions.
Yeah. You know what they call him? They call him a thug.
Thug, yeah.
He's a thug.
He's ignorant and foolish.
Here is a Stanford graduate, a guy from Compton, in the ghetto as they could find, and he's a thug.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that there's these sort of code words that's being used to put into your mind.
Right.
Gang. When you hear gang, what do you think about?
That's
Thug.
Yeah,
what do you
thug.
think about?
Yeah.
And the guy brought up an example. He says, and I like that guy very much. He says,
Sherman.
Yeah. When you go to a hockey game, you see the hockey guys beating up on each other.
That's emotions for them. They're emotional. They love the game. They showing them the emotion side.
They emotional.
That's what we love, the emotion game.
Yeah.
So
But they're not
do
thugs. He didn't do anything violent.
Right. But when we do it,
but he's a thug.
Yeah. Person of color do it. It's a whole nother ball game.
I think that the lady I saw that particular piece when she interviewed him. I don't think they should interview guys that's right after the game like that. I mean, she didn't give him a chance to catch his breath, and the emotionals run high on that football field. I mean, you may say some things that you want to regret afterward, but it's the emotional game. It really is an emotional game, and he knows that. I don't know if the reporter, the lady, knew that, but it's an emotional game. So you say things and do things because you in the moment. Right. Then you saw him later on. You can't tell. Is that the same guy we saw only 15, 20 minutes ago?
Exactly.
Because the emotion runs high. Especially for football. You have to be emotional. It's an emotional game. Very much.
Yeah, and that's why, Rod, when I hear certain code words, it bothers me.
Yeah, and it should. Because we know what they are.
Yeah, gang.
Yeah, we know what they are. Sure.
Thug.
Yeah.
Thug is not associated with other individuals.
Yeah, other ethnic groups.
Right.
Let's say it. Yeah.
When you hear thug,
they're emotional. They wear their emotions on their sleeve.
Yeah.
We all know what that means.
So look at this guy. This guy's intelligent.
Yeah. Oh, he's no dummy.
He's never got busted for any.
Jackson,
as a matter of fact,
yeah.
They asked him, "Do you go to strip clubs like the other guys?" They would ask him some question about strip clubs.
Right.
He says, "I've never been to a strip club. I can't tell you that experience.
Yeah.
I've never been to one."
Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to pin on him because a lot of these other guys may be going to strip clubs.
Sure.
You and these are the type of things that we as individuals have to try and change.
Yeah, well, that's why it's important to have, people, this show that you have here, man. You know what I'm trying to say? These are important outlets for us to be able to push back against that.
Yeah.
This may be just a tip of the iceberg that we need to address. You know what I'm trying to say?
And another thing, look at what they're putting into a kid's mind. If a little kid, 8, 6, 7 years old, say that Sharp is a thug. So you think that kid ain't gonna want to be? I'm a thug. Yeah. I'm a thug, but I play football. He's not gonna emulate that. I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
So for you to call him a thug and then call this other kid a gang member, I mean, those little kids look up. I'm gonna be in a game because Jackson was in a gang and he played football.
Right.
That kind of stuff. It's just
some of ththose reporters are really irresponsible in terms of just pushing the story.
I mean, you should have heard the guys on ESPN, man.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't get a chance to. I heard, but I didn't get a chance to see them. I heard they was really laying into.
Man, they were laying into the guy.
Yeah.
They were like, man, the Eagles have a right to get rid of him. They don't even have the facts.
They ain't gotta have the facts.
They don't even have the facts.
Yeah, they don't have to have the
facts. But you see, the thing about it is that you see these microphones are very, very important.
Yeah.
So you could put out. Rod, I could make you into something that you're not.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
With this microphone.
Yeah. That media.
Yeah.
Media
And
outlet.
all these millions people are listening. Gonna say, man, Deshaun Jackson, why does he have to be in a gang, man?
Yeah.
He's making all that money. He's in the gang. He should be smarter than that. He need to disassociate himself from all those individuals.
Sure.
And it goes on and on and on and on. and the guy might not be in anything.
You're right. He could probably be just as innocent.
And then they associated his record label with gangs.
Yeah. They did a number on him, and I think they're going to continue to do a number of people like him or anybody associated with that type of lifestyle, man. So we have to smarten up in terms of just athletes in general, professional athletes. You got to smarten up, man. I mean, that's just the way it is.
And I like that. And I agree with you. I agree that if you are now an NBA player, an NFL player, a Major League Baseball player,
that's right.
The few that we got in hockey.
We're working on it. Yeah. That's what they'll tell you. We're working on it.
We got to include them as well.
Yeah.
Right? You really and truly can associate with the same individuals you're associated with before you became a professional player.
Like Jay-Z said, the rapper said, you are a businessman. You're a business. So you have to take that mindset, man. You're not just hanging out. You're a business, man. I mean, you have to address, you got to conduct yourself as such.
No, Hassan, I want to come back to you.
Okay.
What it's like for a guy coming out of Newark, right? For a family it's a poor family. If you come out of Newark.
We were poor, but we wasn't that poor, man. We had a house now. I mean, we had a mother and father. We had mommy and dad at the house. We wasn't like, we had some food. I mean, it was 9 of us, man. But
Nine
of us, yeah. And I was the youngest of the 9.
You was the youngest.
Yeah.
So, no, think about this.
Probably in the middle.
Yeah. So.
Well, where I grew up in Trinidad, that's why I play this song that I'm blessed. The area that I grew up in, it's the poorest area in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh my God.
And I used to say that we were so poor, they dropped the OR. We were just poor.
We had some issues, but we ain't had those issues, man.
But we used to get 3 square meals a day. And when I came to the United States of America and realized that people in Africa only got 1 square meal a week, I realized that we weren't really poor. But Hassan, back to the question. When you leave Newark, you go to college, you finish up college, and then you go to be a professional football player. And then you are making more money than you have ever seen in your life. How is it to come back and reintegrate into that community that you left?
Wow, that's a tough one because, like you said, I got a chance to travel all over the country and some parts of the world, and then they ask you to come back to Newark, and it's really a culture shock. Also, I mean, it's you go you see people, you met people, and then you come back here, and I don't know. It was a big adjustment, but it's an adjustment I made pretty well because a lot of times, a lot of my money I didn't spend a lot of money. I saved a lot of money, so I wasn't pretty foolish with the money part of it. I was able to buy a couple of houses in Newark and stuff. But
But where did you learn that from? How did you come about thinking that, you know what? Some one of these days I'm not going to be playing professional football for the rest of my life. And I'm going to need something to fall back on.
Well, it was actually a guy I met. He was saying, "Man, what are you gonna do after football?" And as a football player, you really don't want to hear that because you feel you could play football all your life. But I met a guy. He was like, "Man, what are you gonna do after football? What are you gonna do after football? I think you should get in real estate." And he said that to me for maybe the first 6-7 years in my football career. And then one day I decided to let me check out this real estate market and see what he's talking about. And that's probably one of the smartest investments, or some of the smartest things I've done in terms of, playing football after football. And that whole thing is a culture shock, though. It's because you go from people cheering your name and people clapping for you, and people giving you pretty much what you want and treating you in a whole different manner. And then we come back. Well, this is right now I'm living in reality because I'm not doing I don't have the cheers no more. I don't have the people just giving me stuff. But this is the real world. And I tell young people, I say, you play football. You're only going to play for 5-6 years. If you play 10 years, you're probably lucky. You're probably one of the luckiest persons in the world, but it's a short career, and it's a career that you should afterwards think about, and a lot of us don't. And hey,
No, Hassan.